Good evening, everyone. I welcome you all for today's talk show, and I'm really excited. But before we get into the talk, let me talk a bit about myself. So I'm Rupali Agarwal, an ICF certified international mindset coach and a co-founder of a online platform, Motivo, a platform devoted to the teens and adolescents of the today to tap their inherent potential within themselves. And I really feel the youth are the pillars of a future, and my mission lies in fostering them. So before I get into the talk, let me tell you why I'm so excited about it. Well, Motive has been in many a platform where we've spoken about myriad of topics, be it mindful parenting, or we've spoken about emotional intelligence, or the importance of emotional and physical health. But I was just thinking to myself a couple of days back, where exactly are the heroes, the superstars of a platform, Motivo, the teen, the adolescent? What were they thinking? How are they feeling? How are they coping with the pandemic? So today's talk show will have me actually sitting back and actively listening to my amazing panelists who are young, vibrant, and truly courageous, and have actually been gracious enough to share with us their perspectives, their points, their feelings as to how this pandemic has been for them. So without taking any much more of your time, let me hand it over to the amazing panelists right now. I would like them to introduce themselves. I warmly welcome all of you all. And girls, the podium belongs to you. I would request Vanishri to introduce herself briefly and take on this talk. Over to you, Vanishri.
Hi, I'm Manashri. I'm a student from Modern High School for Girls, and I'm really looking forward to this wonderful session. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Flora Bavashi. I'm from Modern High School for Girls as well. I'm in grade 9. I am an athlete and a dancer since the past 7 years, and I really look forward to this session.
Hi, I'm Rennie and I'm from Modern High School for Girls. I'm in grade 9 and I'm really looking forward in sharing my opinion and my perspective.
Hi, I'm Sana and I'm from Delhi Public School Ranchi, and I would love to be part of this session.
Hi, I'm Simran and I'm from Modern High School for Girls as well. I love dancing and I love talking, so I'm really looking forward to this.
Hi, my name is Avika Agarwal. Even I'm from Modern High School for Girls. I think it's very crucial for the adults to know how we teens have been coping up with the pandemic. So I'm really looking forward to this session.
Hi, I'm Honal Chaudhary. I'm a student of Modern High School for Girls as well, and I'm really excited to talk about what we all have been going through during this pandemic.
So hi, I'm Lidya. I'm actually an HR professional, now turned a trainer and coach. So I started a new career, and I so warmly welcome each one of you. And as Avika said, it is so important for the parents, for the adults to know how the teens are feeling. So we won't waste time. So tell me, how's it been during the pandemic? How have you guys been feeling? Share with us. Avika, you want to start?
Sure. So, like we've been homebound for more than a year now, and definitely during the start of the pandemic, it was very stressful for me. But by time I just sort of adjusted with it. But yes, still I do get frustrated a lot since there are too many constraints. I cannot go out, I cannot meet my friends, I cannot do the activities I could have done if the pandemic wasn't there. So that does get me at times, and that makes me a bit frustrated and down.
Completely understand. It's been such a change for all of us, and especially for you people. You've been going out to school every day, coming back, meeting friends, and there is this pandemic comes and the life completely changes 360 degree. Yes. Who else? Flora.
So at the beginning of this lockdown, which was in March 2020, I was actually really fed up. The first 3 months were very exciting. I had to do all the household chores and I actually felt very independent. It felt like I was preparing for my future. But then after a year, it got very monotonous. And I kind of started getting more bored and feel I started feeling sad that I couldn't meet my people and go out because I'm an outgoing person. But there are a few things that I realized. Number one is that friends don't need everyday conversations, or we don't need to meet every day like we thought we do. And that my own company is better than anyone else's company. Self company is the best.
Beautifully put. You see the difference. Avika said initially she was fed up, she was stressed out, and then later on she adjusted. But Flora said just the opposite. Flora said the first few days, very exciting because different learning. She felt independent. She could do so much that she never did. You see the perspectives? Remember, I said no right, wrong. It's just a perspective. Yes, Rini.
For me also, it was completely the opposite. The first year, it was amazing. I had no problem. Like, I am really interested in technology, so the Zoom and all of that wasn't really a problem for me. But in 2021, especially after March, April, and May, it was so stressful for me, and I wasn't mentally prepared for the experiences that were going to take place. So it was definitely really stressful for me. But again, my friends and my family helped me cope with it.
That's so important. Yes, when unforeseen circumstances come, sometimes we don't know how to react, right? We don't know how to cope with it. But then there are people, there are friends, there are parents. you know Parents are so much more experienced, probably they've seen so much out of life, and therefore they can actually help. So it's always feels nice that if you have somebody to talk to and somebody to share with, right? Yeah, anybody else?
So in the beginning of this pandemic, like in 2020, everything was kind of very new and it was stressful. But right now, I'm feeling surprisingly very calm because summer vacations are going on. So there's not a lot to worry about as of now. But this feeling was not the same like 2 months ago when I had just started like high school. Not gonna lie, it was kind of stressful, but gradually by reaching out to people, it helped me a lot and I just learned to embrace it.
Beautiful. The word is embrace. Learn to embrace. Yes. What else? Sana.
Yeah, so what happened with me was initially when this was declared that the schools are going to close down and we are supposed to stay at home, then everything was really new to me, and I didn't know the seriousness of the situation and how long it would go for. Initially, it was just like for a few weeks, so I thought it would be over by then, but that's not what happened. So initially, it was actually a lot of fun. I took it as a positive way instead of a negative. I thought it would just be a way to get out of school. But then there's so many things started to change, and then everything I took for granted, like normally a very normal little things that we did every day, talking to our friends in school, our lunch breaks, then coming back and maybe going just to the mall in the weekends. All of that stopped, and then I started to feel that every day was the same, and I kind of lost motivation in the between. But right now, I think I've adjusted to it a little more.
For me, I think I've been feeling mixed emotions. Sometimes I want to stay at home, and sometimes I want to go out and have fun. And sometimes it also scared me. But now I'm feeling okay because I think myself I've experienced being a COVID patient. So yeah, I feel okay now.
How are you feeling, Sana, now? You okay? Recovered fully?
Yes.
Well done. That's nice to know. Yeah. Anybody else left? Share?
Yeah, I totally agree with everyone, and especially what Flora said. I did have like, I just want to say that I did have like a good 2020, as to say, because I didn't experience some things that I'm experiencing right now, like I have been since the past few months. And if someone tells me that I'm going to be pressing delete from your, deleting 2020 from your life, I will start I'll break down, because I think all of us have actually discovered our true selves in 2020. Like, I didn't know what I could actually do with myself in if it was not for 2020 or 2021.
I'm so amazed at the way that you young ladies are answering. I mean, I'm so impressed, if I were to say. So beautiful, and so many mixed emotions coming up, so many different challenges, difficult situations that all of you have faced. Now, each of you would have faced different challenges. But if I were to tell you that put your finger on that one challenge, the one hardest thing that you faced during the pandemic, what would be? One, just put your finger on that one thing.
So for me, being one in 159 million people who are COVID survivors, that wouldn't be the biggest challenge for me. Yes, I wasn't mentally prepared for this, but I had gone through it and now I'm perfectly fine. But the biggest challenge I had is my grandmom passing away due to COVID. It was something I had gone through recently, around in May, 23rd May, she passed away due to COVID. She was COVID negative, but still she was on a ventilator, and it was really hard for me. But again, I say my friends and my family helped me cope with it. I still haven't faced the fact that she's not with me, but I'll have to live with it because there's no other way she's coming back.
My heart goes out to you, Rini. I'm sure it must be very, very difficult. But life teaches us to cope with every situation. And there is a saying that time is the best healer. We all come with our diaries already written on it. Apna roll call to likha hi rehta hai ki kab, we have to say yes, present, or jana hai. So we have to cope with it. But yes, my heart goes out to you, and my heartfelt condolence to you and your family. And I'm sure with time things will settle up. Yeah. So anybody else, what is that one challenge that you faced?
The one most difficult challenge for me was not to get to mingle with so many people, because I'm used to staying with a lot of a big crowd, because I'm from a boarding school. Just before 2020 I was in a boarding school, so yes, I'm used to staying near a crowd.
Oh yes, it can get very difficult, especially when you are so used to living in large families. Because I also live in joint families. I also have a background of boarding school. So if anybody was to punish me, it would have been just put me in one room, and then I would have been dead. So completely, understand, Sana. Yes. Who else? What is that one challenge? So for Sana, it was isolation. For Rini, it was passing away of her grandmom. What else?
I think it's keeping yourself focused. So if there's a phone in one hand and if there's a textbook in the other and your class is going on, we all know what we are going to choose. So that is one thing, because class 9 might be difficult and the further years will be more difficult. So if we don't start concentrating and focusing right now, we aren't going to land anywhere. So that is one challenge for me, that if I have my phone in front of me and I have a textbook, I need to choose my book.
Beautiful. Yes, focus is the word. What else?
For me, one of the biggest things that has been with me is that I used to be the most outward person I know of. I used to talk to everyone, and I tried to in the starting of the thing, and even till starting of 2021. But understanding, and I used to crib about staying in front of these four walls and my Netflix and all day long. And I used to crib about that to my parents. But now that I know that staying in these four walls is just so much better than going out or talking or meeting anyone. Like, yeah, we have Zoom, we have WhatsApp, we have everything. I think that is much better than actually affecting someone else's life.
Yes, Mirin, agree. Because sometimes we just have to cope with the changes, and we have to understand what is best for us. So as much as we would have loved going out, meeting friends, and doing movies or ice creams, but now is the time to stay home. And that change that our teenagers have made to cope with the situation is commendable. So thank you so much for, coping with situations and adjusting to it. Yes, what else? That one challenge.
For me, um, for me, I think it was that I lost motivation, as I mentioned before, because we at that time I didn't even now I don't really have anything to look forward to in my case, and that's why in my school work and keeping in touch with all my friends, so I lost motivation in doing that, and I didn't put in a lot of effort um, because because right now I've always been an introvert and it's difficult for me to do it in an online platform. So I didn't make a lot of calls and I didn't and I got really distracted and didn't really have any motivation to study. So that was one of the biggest challenges for me.
Yes. Highly possible to lose motivation in such circumstances with so much happening around you. Yes, Hunar, completely agree with you. But as Flora said, our challenge was also to keep the focus. So we have to find ways, how to motivate. What is that one thing that I can do? And whenever you feel sad or you lack motivation, my mom used to always tell me, ki, jab bhi you feel unhappy, look below. Because when you look at the people who don't have what you have, you will know how to appreciate. You will know what you have, and you're going to be grateful for what you have. So this is one lesson, that I always carry very close to my heart, that whenever you feel demotivated or, your focus is wavering, just sit back and think and look around at the people that they don't have what we have. And, automatically you're going to come back. So yes. Who else?
Yeah, so just like Hanar said, it's been the same with me. I've lost the motivation to study on a regular basis. Like before, when I used to go to school, I used to have a fixed schedule where I used to do my self care, my skin care, my studying hours, everything used to be allotted. And it was way more organized back then. But now my sleeping schedules have become very much erratic and it's been very difficult for me to regulate my daily to daily things that I do along with my sleeping schedule. So that has been very hard for me.
Yes, sometimes when you kind of lose your normal routine, it gets little difficult. Then you think time is all yours. You don't have to rush, you don't have to travel, so you're saving so much of time. So it happens, and there's nothing wrong with it, but I'm sure with time you will again go back and adjust to the situations. And that is the beauty of life, it teaches you how to adapt to change. Okay, you know what, now we shared all the challenge and we shared our feelings, how we felt. Now also to remain sane in this pandemic, it was so important for us to remain healthy, both physical and mental. So what did you guys do to remain sane? You said I wanted focus, you said my routine went for a toss, and you said I was an extrovert and now I have to be at home. Somebody said I was an introvert and I had to, adjust with online classes. So देखो सबकी challenges very different है ना? On everybody's reacting to situations very differently. So to keep all this going, it's very important that we regulate ourselves. Now, what do I mean when I say regulate? Which means we have to keep physically strong. We have to keep emotionally strong. So what is it that you guys did to keep, physically strong and emotionally? If you ask me, I would say, what, I exercise every day regularly, minimum 45 minutes to karti hu. So that keeps my, kind of boost my physical health and also mental health. And I keep myself hydrated by drinking a lot of water. I take 20 minutes out to say my prayers in the evening. I walk on the terrace. So these are little things that I have made a change to myself in the, during the pandemic. So what aap logon ne kya kiya?
Self-care has been one thing that has kept me calm, during these arduous times. Self-care for me is basically pampering myself with like a scrumptious meal, watching my favorite series, and for once, just like forgetting about school. One more thing that I do while I'm practicing self-care is journaling. So how I do journaling is that I express my thoughts by drawing illustrations. So this helps me to, exterminate all the negative thoughts that are circulating in my mind and like build a positive mindset.
That was so beautiful. That was really beautiful.
Thank you.
Anybody else? What do you do? Avika, what do you do? Or what have you been doing in this pandemic?
Yes. So I've been doing yoga and meditation with my family. I've been doing meditation. It really helps me a lot. It helps my mind to just stay calm and relaxed and not just think about how stressful the situation is. So that is something that has really been helping me during these tough times. Besides that, I also consciously make it a point to eat healthy and not eat junk because I want to look a certain way, and because of that, I've just um, like started to keep myself more in check. And I've also stayed in touch with close ones as they always help me to be in a positive frame of mind. So I think that's something which is really important.
That's beautiful. One good thing that pandemic has done is we've avoided junk food. There's less opportunity. So that's good. Yeah, what else?
So basically, what I have been doing, like I said, I have been an athlete since the past 7 years. So kind of exercising every day is a part of my schedule. 2 hours every day. I either go for a jog or I sit at home and do some core exercise or something like that. And like Vanashri said, for my mental health, I also keep a journal. But instead of illustrating, I write down what I feel. I express by writing it down. And when that situation is over, I read it out. There are two things that happen. Either those words inspire me or I laugh at those words, thinking that how much a person can overreact when not in the right state of mind. And it occurs to me that when you have a gun pointed at your head, instead of just pulling the trigger and getting over with it, you could have actually thought of 10 or 100 different ways to escape it. So I just really feel like writing it out and then reading it and actually realizing how you overreacted is actually a big part of your mental health.
So true. Everything that you do, either you can laugh at it later on or you learn something from it. So true, Flora. Yes. What else?
I would like to say that, according to me, yes, trajectories aren't linear. I believe in this totally, and life's just a roller coaster. So we need to. It's too short to dwell on things. I feel, and for my personal self, I work out for an hour in the mornings, and I go to my terrace because going to my terrace is just like a relief point of my day where I'm just forgetting everything that's going around me, the happiness, the sadness, whatsoever I'm feeling. It's just me, my phone, and my music. I think music is like therapy to me because if I'm crying, also it's the best thing to do. And I believe in this that crying is supposedly considered, a weak, or everyone's considered weak, and people say that when boys cry, it's like they said girls stop crying like a girl. So I don't feel so. Everyone should be allowed to express their emotions, and if they want to cry, they should be let cry.
So true. That's a myth. ये ना कि लड़के नहीं रोते हैं, लड़कियां रोते हैं. That's a myth. That's what we have created. So everybody should be given an opportunity. Rather, everybody should express their emotions. And so well put, Simran. Anybody else?
To keep up my mental health, I do all the extracurricular activities that I wasn't able to do before the pandemic. So I read books and play piano sometimes. And as everybody said, to keep up my physical health, I work out daily.
So true. See, all of us do different things, to keep our mental health and physical health in place. Some of us do music therapy, some do yoga, some do meditation, some do workout, so different. Everybody, all of us are different from one another. Okay, now if I were to ask you, okay, what is that one learning? Now we spoke about challenges, we spoke about what we do to love ourselves, to look after ourselves. If I were to ask you that, what is that one learning pandemic? What would that be?
I have learned a lot of things during the course of the pandemic, and I've realized the world only doesn't revolve around me and my family and my friends. It's also about the issues which is going around the world. Well, people say social media is addictive, but it's also pretty. It's an advantage actually. We know what is going on in the world. When I open Instagram, the first thing I see is an essay on issues like Black Lives Matter or the LGBTQ plus community, and which has made me aware of what is going on around the world, like the political news in India, the political leaders having a fight. It keeps us aware of our surroundings and the country we live in.
Yes, so true. As we began by saying there's no right or wrong, there's no good or bad. It's all up to us what we take from what is being offered. So there are going to be a lot of things that are going to be offered to us, but we have to make the right choice and we have to make the right pick. So, very nice. Yes, agree with you. Who else? What is that one learning?
So this is not a learning, but this is actually a realization that I had, that family matters more than we can ever think. It matters so much that when no one is willing to help us, our family never leaves in the first place. And during the span of 15 months that I've been spending with my family, I've just got the feeling of loving. I've just felt that I've been loved. And I also realized the feeling of gratitude. Like you said, that when you were ever sad, your mother told you to look down at the people who were not as privileged as you were. So during these times when I did that, I just understood how fortunate I am to have a happy house, to get food every day, and have such an amazing family who loves me and cares about me. So the feeling of gratitude and the importance of family. These are two things that I realized.
Beautiful.
As
What
Flora
else?
said, like pandemic has, from the pandemic, one thing that I have learned is just to appreciate and spend time with your inner circle, because at the end of the day, they will be the ones who will be there for you. One more very crucial thing that I learned from the pandemic is how important self-care is and the positive outcome of practicing it. Before all this pandemic situation, I really could not spend a lot of time on myself. The days are pretty hectic, and this did lead to a very unhealthy mindset. But now, since I do get a lot of time to focus on myself, it has really helped me a lot, and I can actually see like a personal change in myself.
Congratulations.
I feel that struggles really teach us like a lot in our lives, and who I am today, like my personality, my happiness, my sadness, it's all because of the pandemic, and it taught me a lot. And I totally agree with Vanishri that our circle of belonging is very important in our lives, and especially the inner circle. The first two inner circles are like the people who really matter. Maybe the first circle won't have all of our friends, but the second circle will have our friends, and those people matter too. And staying connected is very important according to me. The thing I realized is that earlier we used to, like, if we are having a fight, we used to keep onto that grudge or not live. I mean, we used to live with it, but now earlier we also used to like live year by year. We're going in class 8, we're going in class 9, but now I think we're living moment by moment. It's very uncertain to say what will happen the next second. It's just very unnecessary to keep up on things. Like some bad things are happening, we should just forget and forgive and just move on in our lives.
Live and let live. Huh? Very beautifully put, Simran. So mature. Thank you. Who else?
The most important thing the pandemic has taught me is to panic less and stay calm. And and it has also taught me a lot of household chores, so it will help me in future a lot.
And I'm sure it has taught a lot of us to do many things that we never thought we would do. Yes. What else? Anybody else?
Yes, one thing I learned during the pandemic was that everything won't stay the same. Like it was the definition of things changing, and we had to get used to that, and we had to adjust to everything. So earlier, if something happened like this earlier, wasn't I was really upset because of it. But then I realized that it will keep on changing, and we have to accept it. For example, when we stopped going out, even something as small as not going out and just staying at home, so many things changed. Our friends changed. Then we started to appreciate things more and stop taking them for granted, even little things. So I think I got used to the idea of change more.
Getting used to change, not taking things for granted. Beautiful. Yes. Thank you. Who
So like
else?
I completely agree with Hanar. For me, it's been like during the pandemic. At first, I took it very lightly. I was like, it's gonna go in a month, 3 4 months. It's just gonna go. But it just dawned on me. It just struck me in the head that it's not something that can be taken so lightly. And from that day, I just realized that we have to accept how the situation is. Acceptance is very important, and at the same time, also adjusting no matter how difficult the times are. I'm also a practitioner of a philosophy in that our mentor says to be courageous and embrace changes. That is something I've been following, and it just helps me to be positive.
Very nice. Yes. Anybody else? When we were preparing for this session, and Rupali and myself, we thought that, and we spoke about it, and we said, what our teens must be going through. Let's ask them, and let's see how they're coping. But I'm so surprised and I'm so happy that I take but so much of learning from you people. you know वो होते हैं ना हम लोग, we already label teens saying that, oh, they must be finding it so difficult, they must be going through so much challenges. But here are 7 beautiful ladies, so matured, actually having coped with so much of changes and has given us so much learning to take back. Each of your story has been so different. And when things get back to normal after pandemic and we all talk about it, and when you compare notes, you will see that your journey has been so different from the other person. No two journeys are ever same. So that was beautiful. But having said that, if I were to ask you one more thing, and that is, what is the help that you, young people, the teens, the generation, the young generation, that need from us, from the adults, from your parents? What is it that we can do for you?
So one thing that I would actually really appreciate if the parents did was just like normalize that your child is having a stressful time in coping up with her studies in school. Do not go on comparing her with like someone else and say that like if she can balance her extracurricular and her school, why can't you do it? Because by doing this, you're actually adding more pressure on her and just demoralizing her in the process. So just support her, just be there by her side and just help her, just be very frank and help her cope up with this like challenging period.
Sure.
I feel that every person deserves their space. Like, I totally agree with what Vanashi just said. And I think everyone, regardless whosoever they are, our younger siblings, our parents, our family members, anyone which should at least give people space. Like, if I'm having a stressful day and if I'm not getting my personal time, I'm not being as I said, Netflix and music are like therapy for me. When I'm sad, I'm happy, it's just my go-to thing now. I can watch hours and hours of Netflix. I can sit in front of with my books, but I can't just talk to people for hours now. It's just become that like that for me. So I really think that everyone should learn how to give space and understand if someone's trying to talk to them, because now we don't really have, I totally believe that many people don't have people to talk to. Some people are losing their parents, which is very sad. Some are losing their relatives, which is again very sad and very disheartening. So I think if you have time, you should talk to every parent or every elder sibling should at least talk to the child. It's as in like sharing how their day goes and asking them about their day, because that I think really makes people feel special.
I couldn't agree, more, Simran. It's so important to talk to each other. And that is one thing that even I have learned from the pandemic is probably it's God's way of saying to spend time with your family. Because we are so rushed, running to school, aa jao, फिर कोई जा रहा है extra curricular, कोई tuition, parents जा रहे हैं, for work. They have a long day at work, they come back, they are tired. By then you are tired, you've gone up to sleep. So I think it's also God's way of providing us that time, and we should make use of it. Yes. Thank you so much. What else?
So according to me, people won't agree to me right now, but parents, when we are going through this change, they should just give us some privacy and our space, as Sumaran mentioned. And for me, I wouldn't be comfortable talking about what's going on with my life to my parents. I would rather prefer telling my elder sister or my friends instead of telling my parents. And this is the time we should learn how to solve our own problems. So just give us some space and privacy. That's it.
Thank you, Rini. Thank you.
I totally agree with Rennie, but this is what I would like parents to do. Like Rennie said, she is not comfortable talking about her life or what's going on in her life to her parents. But that's what I'm asking, that make it comfortable, make it something that's normal. If I'm having some boy issue or if I'm having something that's not really common to talk about, I should be able to talk to my mother or to my father. So that is what I'm just asking, that sometimes there are miscommunications and parents actually try and make a lesson out of everything. They try and teach a life lesson out of everything just instead of listening. So I really appreciate concern and your care. But at times, parents just have to sit, listen, and say that it's going to be okay, instead of giving a lesson every time and telling me how and where I went wrong.
Yes, I think, two contrasting situations coming here. One is saying Rennie saying that she's not comfortable, and Flora saying, but I would like to talk. Listen to me, please. Don't judge me. Yeah, that's what you're saying. So don't judge me. Just listen to me. I have something to tell you. It's a big message for the parents. Thank you. Yes, what else? Anybody else wants us to take back that one thing to the parents or the adults or your teachers, anybody listening to you?
I would just like to add to whatever Flora just said, that sometimes it's good to be a good listener than to just speak up and say some things. Even with your friends, I think it's sometimes just listen to them and understand them rather than just saying what's right and what's wrong.
True that. True. Avika, what is that support that you would need from parents and adults around you?
Yeah, I think Flora and Sabiran summed it up. What I wanted to say, I just want them to listen at times and not question or argue. Just listen, just so that I know that they are there for me and they're just listening to whatever I'm saying and not arguing or just telling something. They're just listening, and that's all I want, especially now.
Thank you. What else?
At the beginning of the pandemic, I was so irritated and frustrated, and I would take out all my frustration on my younger brother or my parents. And but still, above all this frustration, my parents gave me space, and then I appreciate that a lot. And they after finally when I was okay, they talked to me, and yeah, now I'm okay.
Thank you, Sana. Anybody else?
One more thing that I wanted to add was that, as I said, that this pandemic has changed me a lot, And I think the parents should also accept that fact that we have changed, and they should stop comparing to the way we were before the pandemic, because so many things have changed. The platform of education has changed, the way we communicate has changed, and we are relying on devices only to keep in contact with everyone and everything. So I think it's really important for them to accept that right now devices are important to us, because it's not just that we are using it in a wrong way, but it's because everything connecting to our friends and keeping in contact with them, even school, everything is just relying on that, and they should accept the change.
That's true, Hunar, that's true. And moving on to the last question for the session, what worries you about the future? If I were to ask you, Sana, what worries you about the future?
The main thing that worries me is that adapting to the new normal. So I don't know. I still feel difficult to adapt to new normals and wear mask and sanitize my hand all the time. So yeah, that's the biggest challenge for me, I guess.
What about Sumiran? What do you have to say to that?
I would say that life is, like I always say, life is very uncertain and it's like a road full of pebbles where you have to just jump or you fall, you trip. So I think we should start living the moment. If we are happy right now, we should appreciate that. Okay, I'm lucky, I'm happy right now, and not be maybe cribbing about what I'll be doing the next moment, or what tuitions I have, or what classes I'm going to be doing.
Absolutely. Practice mindfulness. That's what you're talking about. So beautifully put. Flora, what about you?
I completely agree with Sumit, and I think we should be content with what we have. We should be satisfied and try and make the best out of it. And one thing that worries me is how I'm going to cope up with the future. One day or the other, things are going to go back to normal, and we will not have Google to answer all our questions. You don't know this question, you search it up on Google, you get the answer, and you answer it. But there will be one day when we have to be sitting in an exam for the future, for our careers, and we will not have Google in front of us. So this is one thing that worries me, that we are so used to this normal. I kind of disagree with Sana because I'm very used to all this. I'm very used to the new normal. So when we are sitting and we are in this new normal, it is going to be difficult for us to cope up with the things and with the real life.
What about you, Vanishri? What do you have to say?
So during this pandemic situation, I've been in my own bubble, just meeting like my close friends and family. So there has not been a lot of like interaction. But if we go back to our normal situation and everything is like back to normal, one thing that will be very difficult for me is just interacting with people. I think social anxiety will hit me at that point, and I will generally just not be comfortable meeting new people or even talking to those whom I last talked to like a year ago.
I totally get your point. Even adults go through it. I'm going through it myself. Social anxiety. Absolutely. Rainy, what about you?
So Sana said it's very hard to cope up with the new normal, wearing masks and sanitizing your hands. But no, it's basically the normal for us now. Wherever I go, even in my house, if somebody comes, I have to wear a mask, sanitize my hands. So I'm used to it. And another thing is, yes, social anxiety. And my confidence has comparatively gone down a lot. And if we go back to what was in 2019, no mask, no nothing, no COVID, it will be really hard for me to get my confidence up and go out there and talk to people. So that just worries.
I agree with Flora. Like as she said, ki one day it'll be like back to normal. We'll have to give an exam sitting, and now like just we have Google to answer everything. I think that is something that worries me a lot as well, because I think that is a transition which it'll take time for me to get accustomed to that. So that is something which I'm very much worried of. Basically when I've just coped up with the online studies and everything, then just going back to the physical studies, going to the school, I think that is something I'm still scared of. So
Okay. What about you, Hunar? What do you have to say?
For me, I agree to Rani on the point that about the being confident because that's a problem for me too because this at right now there was no need of meeting people, no need of socializing, and no need of actually getting out of a comfort zone. We were sitting here and we did what we want, and then going back to all of that, I'm really used to it now, and going back to all of that is a little scary. So, and right now, I've become very reclusive. I've become like a recluse, and it would be difficult to go back to how I was before.
Did we cover all? Is there somebody else left to share about what worries them? We asked all, right? Okay, great. So, I've just been actively listening. I actually sat back and I heard everybody's viewpoints. And I must say, Lydia, I'm simply floored by this group of girls, because amazing. I mean, hats off to you, because I just want to say one thing to you all, that you all are very emotionally intelligent. And let me tell you why I think so. Well, firstly, I asked you about how, what are you all feeling? And you were so clear, you were so specific as to what you were feeling. And then we asked you about what were the challenges. You spoke about your challenges and how well you were coping with it. You were going through challenges, but you were coping with it also. Then we spoke to you about self-care. And you both are doing your bit of self-care. Everyone is, somebody has music, somebody has exercise. You guys are at it. And then you asked what you wanted from our parents, because we do look up to our parents to provide us a lot of guidance and support, which is so natural. And you really were specific as to how you wanted your parents to kind of show up for you. And I'm sure parents who are going to be watching that will definitely inculcate whatever you guys want, because believe me, you all are coming from that heart space. You're actually taken out this time to share your views and viewpoints. And I'm sure it's going to touch a lot of parents' heart. So I really feel you girls are really emotionally intelligent. And the gift I think you all have is the gift of resilience and grit. Because why I say that? Because you all have this capacity amidst all the challenges to be coping through it and actually, surmounting it and just showing up for yourself. So, I mean, hats off to you girls. I'm simply so proud of you girls. And before I give out this thing to Lidya, I would just like to take a moment or two and connect with all the parents who are watching this video and try to explain to you that emotional intelligence is a skill. It's a personal skill. It's like the more you work on it, it better it gets. It's like a muscle. If I'm working out in a gym, my muscles are going to develop, right? Similarly, emotional intelligence is a skill which develops and is being inculcated into schools abroad. And very soon, I'm hoping that India also inculcates this curriculum of emotional intelligence, because we want girls to be grateful. We want girls to be that, the full of, that resilience, and which these girls are actually showing. So I would like to take 2 minutes to talk about a program which Motivo will be, putting up from the 26th of this month. And this program is about emotional intelligence. It's a 5-week module. Once you register for the module, you get access to the course. Once you access the course, for first, there's activities which you do for the first 4 days, and the 5th day, which is like once a week, you get on a Zoom call like we did right now with all the girls. It's a combination of girls from Delhi, Bombay, be it anywhere. We all combining, we all getting together on a platform and discussing our views, discussing our perspective, discussing why are we feeling and what are we feeling. So as we said, there's nothing like a right or a wrong. So once we get on a platform, and a platform of people who are actually feeling what you're probably feeling too, it just makes you become a part of a tribe, right? You understand you're not in this session alone. So the moment we share, they say sharing is caring, right? So once you share, you also connect with people, and so you're not alone in this boat. So this is a very beautiful program, and once a person enrolls in this program, they also become a part of the Motivo tribe. So anybody, we will try to consciously get topics which kind of bothers the adolescents, where they want to just connect with the, adults and tell them, oh, listen, this is what bothers us. So once, children become a part of this group and they enroll, we definitely try to get more programs where the adolescents get a platform, which Motivo is, to connect with you all. So definitely go and check out the course, and the course catalog is there. Registration form is there. And Lidya, would you like to share something on that before we kind of convene? Lidya, we can't hear you.
I want to tell all the parents that you just heard these young ladies, and you also learned that each of them have so different perspective towards life, towards the pandemic. So that is what is about your emotions. There's no right or wrong. We have different ways of coping with it. Yes, some are finding it difficult, to cope. Some are thinking about what's going to happen. So therefore, through our emotional intelligence program, as Rupali mentioned, we kind of help children to understand and regulate those emotions. And it starts from the age of 6 to 17. But, I don't want to take this session away from these young ladies because they are the queens of today's session. Yeah.
Absolutely.
And so beautifully they shared, and, so gracefully they shared all, and they put forth their points. And there's a lot of learning from this. You young ladies have been the voice of a lot of teens that either not getting the opportunity to speak or are shy of speaking. Yeah. So on behalf of all the teens, I thank you so very, very much for being so open, and sharing so freely with us. We certainly take all your messages back to where it has to go, about the listening, about not comparing, about talk to me, I want to talk to you. Yeah, all of that. Yes, we will take it back to parents, to the adults, and not only us, to all the parents, as I said, because you people are not speaking for Flora, for Avika, for Sana, but you are the voice of the teens.
Absolutely.
You are a sample representation of today's teens. And I thank you once again so beautifully. And
yeah, and a lot of people, I'm sure there are a lot of teens, probably whatever you all have shared with, all of them must be resonating with so many of them.
Yes,
it must be totally resonating, and thanking you all for probably coming on the platform. So we're truly grateful from all the teens and all the parents too, because you've given us a perspective as to how life has been for adolescent, and thank you so much for that. So on that note, we will end
thank you so
today's
much for sharing.
talk. Thank you so much.